Hello again, everybody. It's the perfect time to highlight one of the deepest drafts in recent memory. The 2014 draft class produced 3 NBA champions, 2 league MVPs, 1 Defensive Player of the Year, and a 6th Man of the Year awardee. Among the champions is Aaron Gordon, widely viewed as a wasted talent who did not realize his full potential before his resurgence in the Mile High City. Gordon was picked 4th overall, so 3 players went before him in the draft. From a high-flying but late-blooming championship team contributor to a current MVP who almost never stepped foot on an NBA court. These are the 3 players drafted before Aaron Gordon in the 2014 NBA draft. The number 1 overall pick in the 2014 draft was, drumroll please, Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins was the 2nd Canadian to be picked 1st overall and the 2nd number 1 selection to never play a game for the team that drafted him since Chris Webber. And yes, we have LeBron James to blame for that. Apparently, LeBron wanted to maximize his championship window by playing with vets in Cleveland, prompting the Cavs front office to ship Wiggins to Minnesota for Kevin Love before the Kansas product could find the heater at his new apartment. Wiggins turned out to be a solid player for the Timberwolves, but solid was not just cutting it for someone who drew Kobe Bryant comparisons. Whether it was the burden of expectation or the losing culture in Minneapolis, Wiggins never made the leap to superstardom despite averaging nearly 20 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists for the Wolves. Those numbers felt like empty calories, pure soda in a can, as he never posted a positive plus-minus in 5 out of 6 seasons. It wasn't until 2020 when Wiggins surprised everybody, probably including himself, that he could be one hell of a championship-caliber player. Minnesota dumped his giant contract to the Golden State Warriors in a package that centered around D'Angelo Russell, which turned out to be the slap in the face he needed and the best thing that happened in his career. In the Bay Area, he wasn't expected to lead and score a bunch on a team that has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, so he starred in his role as another Swiss Army knife that could crash the boards, hound perimeter guys, and hit the occasional jumper. The pressure to perform was still there, but the spotlight wasn't focused on him. Some guys prefer to do their work under the radar, and Wiggins was one of them, so it's no surprise he blossomed in that role. The result? Wiggins made his first All-Star team in 2022 and became the first player in the draft class to win a title. And he wasn't just a garbage time scarecrow like big old Darko Milicic up there in Detroit. Wiggins was arguably Golden State's 2nd best player behind Curry in the 2022 NBA championship run, where he grabbed more rebounds per game in the playoffs than at any point in his career, topping Golden State's starters in net rating, while leading the entire playoffs in plus-minus. The dream for Wiggins to be an alpha-type superstar may have already gone down the drain, but as a 3rd or 4th option on a championship team, that's a crime against humanity. As Wiggins is making the most out of his 2nd lease in life in Northern California, the next guy was thrown lifeline after lifeline, but his knees cried, enough. The 2nd overall pick in 2014 was Jabari Parker, who came out of Duke looking like a Carmelo Anthony-Paul Pierce hybrid. He was pretty much on the way there, but after averaging 20 points and 6.2 rebounds in 51 games for the Bucks in 2016-2017, a 2nd ACL tear on the same knee basically sentenced his career to an early death. Parker jumped from team to team like a nomad after Milwaukee wisely refused to offer him a qualifying contract. He found himself in Chicago, Washington, Atlanta, Sacramento, and Boston in less than 3 seasons. But he never found a long-term home and was even waived twice by the Celtics in 2021-22. The last we heard about Parker was that his agent talked about seeking opportunities overseas. But as of now, something has yet to come to fruition. Out of curiosity, I researched a bit more about Jabari Parker, and here's one story I couldn't wrap my head around. There's no doubt he was a promising offensive talent, but he took his affinity for getting buckets to a fault. It's absolutely nuts. I don't understand the logic of how a guy who had a Duke education and was a near elite NBA player would utter these words, but I'll leave that to you in the comments section. In an interview with the Bernstein and McKnight show on 670 The Score back in 2018, Parker was asked straight up if he could be as good a defender one day as he is a scorer. His answer? I don't know. If you think there's something something philosophical about his next words, you be the judge and enlighten me, please. Well, I don't know, I just stick to my strengths. Look at everybody in the league. They don't pay players to play defense. There's only 2 players, historically, who play defense. I'm not gonna say that I won't, but to say that's a weakness is like saying that's everybody's weakness. I've scored 30s and 20s off of guys who say they try to play defense. Well, I know this much. The NBA doesn't wait on one-trick ponies to heal up. So the joke's on you, Jabari. Parker's story was not uncommon in the NBA, a career derailed and ruined by injuries. But every once in a while, we also hear an antithesis of what he went through, a career that almost never happened because of health issues, but then recovered just in time to become a superstar. If you don't know who I'm talking about, it's the 3rd guy picked before Aaron Gordon, the reigning MVP, Joel Embiid. Embiid was a college teammate of Wiggins at Kansas, but sadly doesn't possess the Canadians' durability. The big man out of Cameroon had multiple foot, back, and knee injuries like he was a geriatric bullfighter. On top of that, he almost quit basketball after his brother died in a car accident months after he was drafted. It was the ultimate high-risk, high-reward move by former Sixers GM Sam Hinkie to draft Embiid, an act that would have made him look like the dumbest person on the planet or the smartest. Guess what category he belongs to now? Hinkie wasn't around to tell everybody, I told you so, but we'll do that for the guy who confidently told the world to trust the process. Sam Hinkie told us so. Even though Embiid missed 2 seasons and made his debut 3 years after the 2014 draft, he made 6 straight All-Star teams, 5 All-NBA teams, and 3 All-Defensive teams. He was also a 2-time scoring champion and named the most valuable player in 2023. Joel gave everyone in his draft class a 2-year head start and caught up like nothing happened. At only 29 years old, NBA fans should expect a lot more from Joel Embiid, and hopefully, it involves playoff success over individual accolades. By briefly reviewing what happened to the 3 players drafted before Aaron Gordon, it's easy to see why many Magic fans felt he didn't live up to the expectations. He can do so many things on a basketball court. He can pass, create his own shot a little bit, and defend multiple positions. But it felt like he always forgot a tool at home every time he goes to work. Orlando gave him 6.5 seasons, but it was clear as sunlight he was never going to be the guy in Central Florida, or anywhere for that matter. Believe it or not, that turned out to be the best thing that happened to Gordon. He was a square peg in a round hole for the Magic, but he found his perfect fit when he was traded to Denver in the middle of the 2020-21 season. Not everyone can be a Magic, Larry, MJ, LeBron, or Kobe, but no team has won a championship without guys in the mold of Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Robert Horry, and Lamar Odom. Aaron Gordon is that guy for Denver, and he was a superstar in his role. Check out his body of work in the 2023 playoffs. Aaron Gordon's 12.2 net rating is better than Jokic and Murray in the 2023 playoffs. He also had the best total defensive win shares among all playoff performers and allowed the lowest opponent field goal percentage among Nuggets starters. Those are the non-sexy stats nobody is going to pay attention to. But the fact of the matter is, Denver would still be looking for its first NBA championship if not for Aaron Gordon. Please don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments section below.